Hear the train coming, rolling around the bend. I ain't seen the sunshine since I don't know when. I'm stuck in Folsom prison, and time keeps dragging on. And I hear that whistle blowing down the San Antonio. Rock stars! Eric Andreas, your guitar sage here, and today I'm going to be showing you how to unlock the entire fretboard even if you're a beginner. This is going to be super fun, super easy stuff I'm going to be showing you. Even for folks that have been playing for a long time, this is going to be insightful, okay? Because everything has to do with perspective, and when we have a different perspective, we can see things in ways that we haven't seen them before, ways that we haven't looked at them before. So what I'm going to be doing is showing you some bits and pieces the way that I think about the guitar. So maybe you have your ways that you think. Let's add this to it, and let's learn about the fretboard today, all right? I'm also going to be answering your questions, live Q&A. So we're live on Facebook today and on YouTube, and I'll be bopping back and forth between the two. And what else? Oh yeah, we're giving a guitar away. Where's that guitar? It's not in here. That's okay. Guess what? I'm giving this one away on Saturday, but today I'm going to be giving away an Epiphone acoustic guitar, and I forgot the name of it, but there you go. PR150. Thank you so much, Chris. Chris is my right-hand man, and he saves me a lot, so thank you, Chris. PR150, it is an Epiphone. It's a beautiful acoustic guitar. I've done a review on it, and yeah, I'm going to be giving that away. How do you win this? I'm going to tell you. For folks that share this, we're going to pick one winner. Now, if you've joined me for any of these live broadcasts before, you know I give a lot of stuff away. In fact, we'll also be giving away today 5 books of my Guitar Mastery Simplified and my CD and some other goodies, I'm sure. And one lucky winner, so a 6th winner, will win a guitar, the Epiphone PR150. With all that being said, this is how you win. You share it, okay? I love that you guys are here. I love your comments, and I love that you like stuff. And when I see all the fun little things go across the screen on Facebook, that makes me very happy. It makes me want to stay longer. So, right? But also, I like when you guys share this stuff. Why? Because when you share it, other people can come and join us, and we can have a big party, and we can learn, okay? So that's what it's all about. It's about sharing, giving back, right? That's why I like to give stuff away, too. So, with that being said, are you going to join me on Saturday? You should. If you hadn't already pre-registered, then you need to go to YourGuitarSage.com/live, where you can register ahead of time for the broadcast. I have a special bonus video for you there, as well as a PDF that will prepare you for Saturday's broadcast, okay? So do that, and then that will also get you into the contest for the acoustic guitar. This is Tatiana, my Takamine EAN10C, and I have played this guitar for, gosh, over a decade now. It's probably been 15 years since I purchased her, and she's been an amazing guitar for me. I don't know what to say other than she's a great guitar. Obviously, has gotten some wear, right, from just playing so much. But this beautiful guitar, along with a hard shell case and a tuner and a bunch of stuff. I'm going to be giving a bunch of stuff away. A book, a CD, I'm sure a cable, picks, anything that I can stuff into this case, I'm going to stuff into it, okay? So, right? You're going to join us. Okay, YourGuitarSage.com/live. That's where you want to do that. Let's get into the lesson, and then I'm going to be bebopping back and forth between Facebook and YouTube. Okay, so here we go. So today, we're talking about how to unlock the entire fretboard, right? Even if you're a beginner. So you don't have to know anything about the guitar in order to do this today. The only thing you have to do is listen, okay? And maybe jot a few notes down. But you don't necessarily have to jot a few notes down. If you would just like to listen, you can, because I also have a free introductory course for you. It's the top 30 lessons I teach all my students, and basically it will help solidify what we're talking about here. The link for that's in the video description. It's YourGuitarSage.com/30. Eric, why did you create a free course for us, and why are you giving free guitars away? Well, because I love giving stuff away, and honestly, the course is more because I wanted to help folks that were having issues with the guitar, and I couldn't answer as many questions that I was getting in the comments of like YouTube and that sort of thing. So that's why I created a course where you could just go and learn. And honestly, that's how I got started at teaching guitar, is that so many folks I would teach the same song 5 times in a week, the same Taylor Swift song or Miley Cyrus or whoever it was at the time, Aerosmith or whatever, and I said, why don't I create some videos for this so other people can learn around the world? And that's how I got started doing this. Had no intentions on making a course or writing a book or anything. That's how I started off. So, but that's what I'm doing now. All right, there's a little history. Ready to jump into this? I think you are. I am. So here we go. So basically, we need to understand this fretboard, and you know, I don't know about you, but when I just got the guitar, I was like, dear Lord, there's 17 strings on this thing and 94 frets, and I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go. Well, really, there's only 6 strings, and on most guitars, there's somewhere between, say like 17 and 24 frets. And so it's a lot still. With that being said, but with the bits and pieces that I'm going to show you today, it's really going to unlock this thing for you to where you'll know any place that you press on the fretboard, you'll know immediately that for instance, this is a D sharp. If I press here, I can tell you that this is a B. Or if I press here, I can tell you that this is a B. Now, how am I doing that so quickly? Do I have the fretboard memorized? No. What about Eric, you're really disappointing me here. I thought you had the fretboard memorized. You've been playing for over 30 years. Well, I hate to disappoint you, but nobody has the fretboard memorized. I don't care who it is. No one has the fretboard memorized any more than someone who can count to 1,000,000 has the numbers memorized. You don't have the numbers. You didn't sit down and memorize the numbers 1 to 1,000,000, but I bet you $1,000 right now that you could count to 1,000,000 even though you've never done it, right? Have you ever counted to 1,000,000? I have not. Ne'er would I take the time to do that unless someone was paying me a lot of money. So, but I know that I can do it because there's a method to it, right? You got ones, 1 through 9, and then you got decimals. And as long as you can count tens and hundreds and thousands and 10,000s and 100,000s and millions, then you can get to 1,000,000. It's easy, okay? So the same concept is basically how I'm going to be teaching you about the fretboard today, is that there's a few little bits and pieces to know, and then there's some other things that help us to grow that, right? So just like we just really need decimal points and 1 through 9, and we can count to an infinite number. Now, you may not know what a zillion or trillion or quadrillion is, well, how many zeros that is, but you would know the number, okay? So that's how I'm going to show you, if you will, the fretboard today, and we're going to simplify it. Did you know that really there's only 12 notes in the chromatic scale? What we mean by the chromatic scale is that scale that represents every single note in Western, we'll call it Western music, and I don't mean country Western. What I mean by that is anything other than, say, like some countries where they have like quarter steps, like say like India. Music you're probably not listening to. Even if you're listening to Indian music, especially modern Indian music, it's westernized. So it's really the major scale, and it's based off of what we call the chromatic scale, which is every note in the rainbow, right? Every note in the musical spectrum. It's like every color in the rainbow. If you said Roy G. Biv, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet, right? You got seven notes, if you will, or 7 colors. Well, we have 7 notes in the musical scale, but if we said between red and orange, we have a reddish orange, right? And between orange and yellow, we got an orangish yellow. So we could say there's a note in between those, right? Or a color in between those. Well, the same thing works with the guitar. It's not quite as simple as that, but essentially you've got the major scale, which is not the chromatic scale. The chromatic scale says, anyhow, something like that. It's all the notes, and I don't play it very often, which is why I suck at it. But in short, we've got the chromatic scale, which is all the notes, and then we have what we use is the major scale a lot. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you how to navigate the fretboard to where you know at any moment where a note is at. It's super simple, okay? So first off, and then I'm going to show you the major scale and why that's important, okay? Okay, so first off, we got to know the open notes, right? If you have a map, that map doesn't help you. Or GPS, right? When you pull your GPS up, it's not going to help you unless it can pinpoint where you're at exactly, right? Because you got to know where you're at to know where you're going to go. And this is with anything in life. It's true with the guitar, and it's true with the fretboard here. So we have to know where we're starting off. And we have to, in order to know where we're starting off, we need to know the names of the open strings. What we mean by open strings are those strings that we hit, and we're not fretting anything. We don't have our hands on the guitar, right? We're just strumming. So these notes, as they're played, are as follows. E, you don't have to write this down because, again, I've got the free course for you where I have a PDF for you in the whole 9 yards. So you can write it down if you want, or make sure that you check out the free course after this is done. Okay, so here we go. From the lowest note, the lowest in pitch, or the highest string here in proximity to the ground. This is an E. And I'll show you an easy way to remember this. E, A, D, G, B, E. And we count the strings 6 through 1, by the way. So 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 are E, A, D, G, B, E. Now, how do you remember that? You can just remember it like that, you know? An easy word that I like to remember for that is E-D-G-B. But that one is kind of hard for some people to pronounce. So I like to say, Eddie ate dynamite, goodbye Eddie, okay? I was joking earlier that E-A-D-G-B-E. You can either remember it like that, or you can come up with some sort of sentence, which in this case here, Eddie ate dynamite, goodbye Eddie. That's easy enough, right? And each beginning letter is the open note or the open string there. And what that means is this. It means that we typically tune that string to that note. Now you could have an E string that's down here and that's not an E anymore, but it's still an E string, okay? We call it an E string because that's what it's tuned to, okay? So with that being said, E, A, D, G, B, E, that's the only thing we need to know where we're at on the map. Cool? Cool. Now, the second thing we need to know is we need to know the musical alphabet. Cool thing is, musical alphabet only goes to G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Okay, there's no H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P. There's no H chord, there's no H note, there's no L chord, there's no L note. Okay, it stops at G. A through G, that's all you got to remember. Okay? And this part, you got to remember, A through G is the musical alphabet. There are things called sharps and flats. Sharps, you can think about, we can use them in different ways, but technically a sharp is when we raise a note up, and flat is when we lower a note. Think about flat like you're pushing a balloon down, and sharp, maybe you're sharpening a pencil up. I don't know. Sharp is going up, okay? So for instance, if I'm on a G, and I want to play a G sharp, I just go up 1 fret, okay? Now if I'm on a G, and I want to go down to G flat, I'm going to go down a step, or 1 fret, okay? So flattening is bringing a note down, sharp is bringing a note up. Cool? All right. So now we can use this as a verb, so like sharp that note or flat that note. We can also use it as an adjective, so like a G sharp or a G flat. Now, with that being said, the musical alphabet goes from A to G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, right? But remember we talked about the the rainbow, right? And that in between red and orange, we've got red-orange. And in between orange and yellow, we've got orange-yellow. Well, in the same way, on the guitar, or with notes, it's not just the guitar, but just music in general, we've got notes that are in between, okay? And in the case of sharps and flats on an instrument, basically every note has a sharp, except for B and E, okay? So A through G, they all have sharps except for B and E. Now, how can you remember that? Think about the Beatles song, Let It Be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, right? So B and E don't have a sharp. That's the way I remember it. I don't know, I'm a weirdo. So, check this out. So with that being said, really, if you just know those two pieces of information, which I'm going to give you more here today, but literally those two pieces of information, you could know where you're at, anywhere on the fretboard at any time. Literally, you know this already. But you just know it from me saying it, you may not know how to do it. So let me show you that you know how to do this, okay? So we said the strings are E, A, D, G, B, E, right? And we remember this by saying Eddie ate dynamite, goodbye Eddie, right? So let's think about this for a minute. If I said to you, what is this note right here? You might say, well, Eric, you haven't shown us that yet. But I have, because here's the deal. This note right here is on the A string. It's on the 5th string, right? The second one from the top, or the 5th one from the bottom. So this note right here. So how can you identify that note? Well, we know that this is an E, because we said Eddie, so that's an E. 8 is the next string. 8 starts with an A, so we know that's the A string, right? Cool. Now, work with me here, because each fret is called a half step. And we said that every note has a sharp except for B and E, right? So watch this. So I'm going to say it without moving it on the fretboard first. But if every note has a sharp except for B and E, then does A have a sharp? I don't know why I'm holding my finger up, because that'd be weird. Does A have a sharp? Yes, it does. So we have A. A has a sharp. The next letter in the alphabet would be B, right? And we said that two notes don't have a sharp, B and E. So B has a sharp, or B does not have a sharp. So we go straight from B to C. C has a sharp, so C sharp. Next letter, A, B, C, D. D has a sharp. A, B, C, D, E. Does E have a sharp? No, it doesn't, right? It doesn't have a sharp. B and E don't have a sharp, so goes E to F. Does F have a sharp? Yup. F sharp. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Does G have a sharp? Yep, G sharp. And then the way it works is it just starts over again. Okay, and I'll show you what that means in a minute. But essentially, if you thought, like that dude who saw that double rainbow or that triple rainbow, whoa, dude, right? Like that. Well, whoa, dude, the way that instruments work is they just stack up these musical rainbows, if you will. It's just chromatic scale after chromatic scale after chromatic scale. So going from a low note like this, or we could just keep going. We're going through that chromatic scale, and we're just going higher and higher, but repeating the notes again. I'll show this to you in just a moment. So once we get to G sharp, we start back over again at A. Easy enough. So with that being said, our chromatic scale goes A, A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E. E didn't have a sharp, so F, F sharp, G, G sharp, and then back to the beginning again. Okay? So with that being said, let's try this on the A string. Now I said, what is this note right here? Or you should be able to identify that. Now, it doesn't mean you're going to be able to identify it right away like I did, but the reason that and really I didn't identify it right away. I did some math in my head very quickly, very easy math, might I add, coming from the guy that took algebra 5 times in college. That's right. And I didn't do that because I loved the subject. It was because I skipped a few days. Yep, don't skip. It's just like music theory. Don't skip algebra class. Don't skip music theory. Step by step, okay? So you got to learn this stuff. If you don't know it, you don't know it. And it means you're not going to know the other stuff as well. So this is the A string. Bam, right? So watch this. Does A have a sharp? I'm gonna ask you every single time here. Okay, this is your quiz. So open A. Does A have a sharp? You're saying yeah. All right. In fact, give me thumbs up on Facebook. Give me a thumbs up, or on YouTube. Can we do that? I don't think so. But on Facebook, give me a thumbs up if what I'm saying is correct. Okay. Okay. So here we go. A. Right. The next note is what? Does A have a sharp? Give me a thumbs up if it does. Give me a frowny face, sad face if not. Okay. So does A have a sharp? It does. It has a sharp. All right. Now the next letter in the alphabet, A, B. Right. Easy enough. Does B have a sharp? Thumbs up or frowny face. Right. If it does not, then we're going to go straight to what letter? A, B, C. Easy enough, right? Does C have a sharp? Thumbs up or frowny face? It does. It has a sharp. Okay? We're going to continue to do this. I'm not going to ask you every time. So we're at C sharp, right? What's the next letter in the alphabet? D. Does D have a sharp? I'm watching. D does have a sharp, right? A, B, C, D, E. Right? And that's the note, by the way, that we were looking for. I said, what note is this? It's an E. So you used the open position and this little bit of math that we talked about to get here. Congratulations. Seriously, that's cool. That's the beginning of understanding the fretboard. But I'm going to show you some other bits and pieces that are truly going to get you to do this faster. The way that I did it, to where I was just able to name it, I'm going to show you that bit next here. And it's the easiest part. Okay? So here we go. Here's E. Does E have a sharp? No, it does not, right? So F. Does F have a sharp? Yes, it does. F sharp. I'm trying to trick you there. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Does G have a sharp? Yes, it does. Okay. G sharp. And then we're back to A again, right? This is the 12th fret, okay? And this is kind of like the beginning of the rainbow again. It starts over again at the 12th fret. Now I'm going to show you other places where it starts over again. But just to let you know, that right there is the 12th fret, and it starts over again there, okay? Pardon me. So if we had a 24 fret guitar, it would start over at the 24th fret. And if we had a 36 fret guitar, it would start over at the 36th fret. Remember we said there's 12 notes in the chromatic scale? And look, 12 notes, 12 frets. Coincidence? Me thinks not. All right? That's why the 12th fret, it starts over again. Now, when I just grabbed a note here and I said, oh, this is an A or this is a G, did I do the math that quickly there? No, I didn't. I have what I call these things called springboards, okay? And we're going to delve into just a few of them today because I actually have videos. I have videos on YouTube that go into more depth with them. But we're going to talk about some basic ones today, okay? But if you'd like to know the video to watch on YouTube, you could open up in another tab or just write it down. For later on, just type in YourGuitarSage springboards. YourGuitarSage springboards, okay? And I'll show you more about this. But right now, you've learned one springboard already, and that's the 12th fret. So whereas the open strings are E, A, D, G, B, E, the 12th fret is E, A, D, G, B, E. E, A, D, G, B, E. Easy enough. Now, why is that important, Eric? Well, here's why. Let me tell you. If someone says, what is this note right here? I easily can say, what's an F? And I don't have to do this. I don't have to do the whole bit that we started here. E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, da, 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 da. Right? Why? Because here's the 1st fret, here's the 12th fret, and they're duplicate of each other. Right? So since this is an E, I know that E doesn't have a sharp, so this note has to be an F. Does that make sense? Let's try it again on another one. Here's an A. And if somebody says, what's this note right here? I can say, well, it's a B. Easy enough. Why? Because I did this whole thing here, which would take like 20 seconds. Nope. What I did was I said, this is an A, the 12th fret, even though you can't see that. But you'll just have to trust me. It's the 12th fret here. You can see a dot there. Okay, this is the 12th fret. And I know that this is an A because the 1st fret and the 12th fret are the same. So that's an A. And I know A has a sharp. So A, A sharp, and the next letter in the alphabet's B, so that's how I can quickly know that's a B. So, folks that are like, no, I know that Yngwie Malmsteen has the fretboard memorized. No, he doesn't have it memorized in the way that I'm talking to you about. Is he an insane guitar player that can do anything all over the fretboard? Yes, but does that mean that every single note that he's playing, he knows the name of it immediately? No. That would be a waste of time, and so because it's a waste of time, why would the brain sit there and try to store that information? It would be ridiculous. It wouldn't even be helpful if you knew that. It just would not be. You don't have to do that in order to play well, okay? So, here's a B. Now, so that's springboard 1, it's the 12th fret, okay? Now, there are other springboards, but I'm only going to show you one other one, okay? Because I'm going to save the rest for the free course and also for the YouTube video that I was mentioning to you. Now, there's another really, really helpful springboard, the one that I was using here earlier when I was, like I said, what's this note? And I said, well, it's a B, okay? And it is this, what I call a movable springboard. The 12th fret is a fixed, a stationary springboard. It's in that it doesn't move. It's the first fret, it's the 12th fret. But with that being said, anything, you could just add 12 to anything and you'll find the octave above that. So for instance, at the 5th fret, all these notes are repeated at the 17th fret. Because I'm taking 12 or 5 and adding 12 and then I'm at the 17th fret. So you can do this with anything. So the 1st fret, I would just add 12 and everything at the 13th fret's the same. If I go to the 3rd fret, I add 12 and everything's the same at the 15th fret. And so on and so forth. Does that make sense? I know some of you are like, dude, that's too easy. That can't be true. Don't think like that. Believe me, I've been doing this for a little while and it's true. Just believe me. And you'll discover that it's true 100% of the time later on. Okay, so just believe me right now. So that's another springboard. That's a movable springboard, that one, but it's based off of the stationary springboard, the 12th fret. This one, then, that I'm going to show you that I call movable octaves, a movable octave springboard, is movable. Okay, but it works like this. On the 6th and 5th strings, so we have a different one for the 4th and 3rd strings, okay? It works like this. If we're basing a note off of the 6th or 5th string, here we're going to use the 6th string in this case. So if I play a G, this is the 3rd fret of the low E string. It's a G. We know this is a G because we say E, F, F sharp, G, right? So here's our G. And if we wanted to find a G 1 octave up, well, how can we do that? Well, we can add 12 to this, right? We're at the 3rd fret, and we can go to the 15th fret and go, that's easy enough, right? But what happens if we wanted to do it somewhere in this section here instead of coming all the way up to here? We're playing My Sharona, right? That'd be weird, right? I don't know, it wasn't even My Sharona, that was just weird. But nonetheless, if we were trying to play octaves, that'd be weird to jump around like that. There's a closer one. How to find it. Here's a G. The only thing you have to do on the 6th or 5th string to find the octave above it is you go down 2 strings. Watch this, super easy. Down 2 strings, up 2 frets. That's all you do. I'm going to do it again, watch. Here's a G. I'm going to go down 2 strings, 1, 2, up 2 frets, 1, 2, and that is an octave. That's a G. So that's something like My Sharona. Nonetheless, okay, so this is movable. So you've heard people use this before, right? Purple Haze, Jimmy uses those octaves right there. You can see that he's doing this based off of the 5th string root. What we mean by root is the basic, the main part of the chord. It's the note that the rest of the chord is built upon. You don't have to really know that yet. But let's check this out. How did he come up with this? Well, if is an A, and I know it's an A because this is a D. I know that's a D because we have A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D. Okay, just using the same method that we did earlier. And so if I wanted to find an octave of this, remember I said off of the 6th and 5th string, the only thing we got to do is go down 2 strings, up 2 frets. So we go down 2 strings, 1, 2, up 2 frets, 1, 2, and now that is my D octave. And so anywhere I move this guy, I get an octave. Easy, right? So easy. So now I said that the 4th and 3rd string are a little bit different, okay? If you've ever noticed when you're tuning a guitar, if you've watched any of my tuning videos, if you're tuning the guitar by itself, you can tune to the 5th fret on all the strings except for when you're tuning the B string, you have to go down a half step to the 4th fret, and then back up to the 5th fret again when tuning the E string. So it looks like this. You ever notice that? Well, because of that little bit there, that string is actually tuned down a half step. Tuned down a half step? Yes, it's tuned down a half step. Why? Don't ask why. No, seriously, this was done hundreds of years ago so that we could play bar chords and play all sorts of stuff a lot easier. If you're very anal retentive and you're like, I really want that up a half step so it's all even, it's not going to make it even. It's going to make life really hard on the guitar. So you can try to do it, but there's like thousands of people that tried it before you and they ended up with the same result. It doesn't make the guitar easier, it makes it harder. The guitar is tuned a certain way, so we can have the 6th and 1st string as octaves and that sort of thing, okay? If you did it the other way, those would not be octaves and you would need more fingers to be able to play the same stuff, okay? So, don't do that, okay? So, the 6th and 5th string, we've got the down 2, up 2 bit. When we're talking about the 4th and 3rd strings, when we're trying to find those octaves, we need to go down 2 strings, up 3 frets, okay? Down 2 strings, up 3 frets. Let's do this. So if we wanted to take that same Hendrix lick, which is F sharp, E, D. If we want to take that same bit, then we would find an F sharp over on the 4th string. And how did I find that so quickly? Because what I did is I said, well, I knew this was E, F, F sharp, right? And then what I did is I just used that little springboard technique, down 2 strings, up 2 frets. And I did that, you didn't see it, because I was doing the background behind my forehead in my brain, and you didn't see it. So it looks like, well, how did he just have that memorized? I don't have it memorized. Neither does anybody else. They're doing these techniques and it's happening very quickly, so it appears as if it's memorized, okay? So here is that F sharp. Now, again, if I wanted to find the octave of this, I just go down 2 strings and up, how many frets? 3, right? So 1, 2, 3. There we go. So now if I wanted to play that same lick, oops. I really do play guitar. And then, okay, same thing. So those are what I call the movable octave springboards, and they will help you a ton in whatever it is that you're trying to do to navigate the fretboard. So let's go back to when I said, what's this note, what's this note? And then we're going to get to some questions here, okay? We said, like I just picked the note out and I said, boom, what's this note? And so for you guys at home, I'd say that's an E. Now, how do I know that? Well, here's why. Number one, I know this is an E. How do I know that's an E? That has come from time, but I'm still using association. So someone might say that I have this note memorized. But realistically, yeah, sure, I suppose I have it memorized. But it's kind of like I have it memorized because I'm using association to memorize it. Because I know that this is an E, and I play so much in E that I just know that that's an E. So maybe that one note I do have memorized. But when I said this, that's the note I originally said, what's that note? I don't have that memorized. So I did the backwards springboard here. I just went back to, up to. Instead of down to, up to, I went back to, up to. See, you can go backwards or forwards with this. And I knew that that was an E. So it's you can do this very quickly. And if you're doing it within your head, it looks like you just know this stuff, like you have it memorized. But again, people don't memorize the neck. There's no need to memorize the neck. You just use association and you can get everything right away. This is how I teach, if you ever watch any of my chord videos, this is why I'm able to teach hundreds of chords or even thousands of chords in the Unstoppable Guitar System, my mammoth course, which, by the way, the free course that I'm giving you is the first 30 lessons of that course to get your feet wet, get you excited about guitar. But that's how I'm able to teach hundreds of chords or thousands of chords in one setting, because no one sits down and memorizes. I mean, I suppose you could, but it'd be a big waste of your time. No guitar player who really knows what they're doing is going to sit down and memorize thousands of chords or even hundreds of chords or dozens of chords. It's like you might remember some of the shapes, but just like building anything like we've been doing, you just need to use the association, and then you can build stuff off of it, okay? Same reason why, if you're going to learn the major scale, you don't have to learn 12 of them, you just learn the first one. And then you can play it in every key by just moving it up the fretboard. Easy enough. Right now I'm playing in every single key, sharps and flats. I don't even have to know what sharps or flats I'm playing because I'm playing a pattern. So I just played through the entire octave, played through all different keys. If I was playing on the piano, I'd be playing black keys, white keys, different every single time. Very difficult on the piano, right? Because you have to memorize. As I took piano for a couple years, and I had to memorize every single one of those scales with both hands, and every single scale is different. Every pattern is different. Not so on the guitar. That's why guitar is easy in that way. It's more difficult than piano in the beginning, because with piano you can walk up to it and play chords right away. With guitar you can't really do that, right? But the guitar is easier in my opinion than the piano in that way. A lot of times in music theory, in some ways in music theory, in other ways I use the piano all the time to help people with music theory, because you can see the sharps and flats right there. They're the black keys, and the white keys are the natural notes, whereas you can't see that on the guitar. But we have other ways to navigate the fretboard, the way that I just showed you. Okay, I was going to get into the major scale today, but I think I'm going to overwhelm your brains. Plus, I've got enough videos for that inside of the free course that I'm giving you today that you can run with that and have fun with it. Okay, so we're going to get into some questions. Here we go. Get your questions out. Get them ready, because here we go. And I'm going to be going back and forth between, pardon me, between YouTube and Facebook. I'll start off on Facebook. So, very quickly, what did we cover? We covered basically, how to unlock the entire fretboard. But how did we do that? I almost fell. I almost died just now. Just now I almost died on live camera. We talked about it. We said there's a few things that we need to know. How to unlock the entire fretboard, even if you're a beginner. It's easy. Number one, you got to know the open strings, which we said were E, A, D, G, B, E. Eddie ate dynamite, goodbye Eddie, remember? We said we needed to know the musical alphabet, which is A through G, and we needed to know that every note had a sharp except for B and E. Now, yes, there are flats. We're not talking about that today because I purposely didn't, because I don't want to confuse you. This is one way to do this. We could do it with flats as well, but the rules would be a little bit different. Still the same, but it's a different view, a different way to view it, okay? So, we know the musical alphabet goes A through G. There's no H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P. And B and E don't have a sharp, but every other note does have a sharp, okay? So we said that, and that's why we could go through the alphabet. And then we learned our springboards. We learned about the 12 note or the 12th fret springboard, which we can do from 0 to 12, or we could do 1 to 13, or we could do 3 to 15, or we could do 5 to 17, or whatever. It doesn't matter. Always 12 frets up from that is going to be the octave. Okay? And we talked about the movable springboards as well. Now, much of that is covered in the free course. Let me give that to you one more time really quickly in case you want to go now. If that's all you're here for is to do this and not to get your questions answered or to win a guitar or to win something, then you're out of here, right? And thank you so much for joining me today. In that case, do not forget to check out, and you'll see the description you'll see the link in the description of the video, YourGuitarSage.com/30. Okay, super easy. It's free. You get in there, you'll learn so much. In fact, again, if I have folks who contact me constantly, which I love and I appreciate, they'll say, Eric, I want to do a lesson with you in Nashville. And I say, sure, come on down. But I've got a lot of free stuff online. And in fact, if you're new to guitar, even if you're intermediate, this stuff is going to help you so much. But the first 30 lessons that I teach all my students are right there in that free course. And it would probably take us about 30 weeks to cover. So make sure that you check that out, because you're going to build a massive foundation on guitar. And anything that you do from there on is going to be built on that foundation. Okay? All right. Without further ado, let's get into some questions, and then we'll give some stuff away. So what do I mean give stuff away? If you're new here, only thing you got to do is share this, and after the program, we're going to pick 6 winners. Eric, it's usually 5 winners. Who's the 6th winner? Well, we're going to be giving away 5 of my Guitar Mastery Simplified. I'll sign those if you'd like. We'll put a CD in there, as well as a sticker, your YourGuitarSage sticker, and maybe something else. I don't know, pick or something. Something I see hanging around the studio, an amplifier or something. I don't know. But we are really going to give away a guitar away. So 5 folks are going to win that today, and one person is going to win the Epiphone PR150. This is an acoustic guitar, beautiful acoustic guitar. I've done a review on it, and some lucky winner is going to win that today. So the only thing you got to do is share this video, and I'll be giving those away. All right, let's get to some questions. You ready? Okay. Xavier, thank you so much for the kind words. I'm on Facebook, friends, all right? Oh, make sure that you leave a question mark. Okay, it's really important that you put a question mark after your question. Why? Because that's the way we do it, right? If we're excited, we put an exclamation point. But if it's a question, you got to put a question mark. And because there are so many questions that I'm really just looking for a question mark, because I'm scrolling quickly through here, okay? Okay, so if I don't see a question mark, I'm not taking the question, because I just won't even see that there's a question. I'm scrolling that quickly, because I do want to make sure that I get to all the questions, all right? All right. Okay, that question was not for me. And, you know, this does not, someone, as Ron is saying, is Tatiana all solid wood? So Ron knows a little bit about acoustic guitars then, otherwise he wouldn't be asking that. So, yes, what we mean by that is, so some guitars are made with laminate wood, which is basically where, like, they layer wood, okay? And the sound is not as resonant as solid wood. So this is a solid wood guitar. So the top is solid, the sides are solid, and the back are solid. So finer guitars have solid, everything is solid. Okay, more expensive guitars, everything is solid. That's the way it works. People say, well, I want a cheap guitar that's solid. Me too. I also want to move to Hawaii for really, really cheap. And I want a really, really expensive vintage guitar for really, really cheap. But they ain't making them. Okay, so like expensive guitars have quality built into them, typically, unless you're getting gypped. Cheap guitars don't have as much quality. Does that make sense? Okay, it makes sense to me, but sometimes I hear people say things and I'm like, you kind of get what you pay for, right? Like cheaper, you're going to get cheaper woods. You're going to get cheaper everything, okay? So Evan from Facebook is saying, Eric, I was jamming on my guitar while listening, and I heard you say something about tuning down a half step. I know a lot of guitarists do this, but should you only do it for certain songs, or do you recommend always being a half step down to play the guitar easier? I do not suggest playing the guitar a half step down, because you're not going to be in tune with anything, right? So tune the guitar down if you're tuning with Stevie Ray Vaughan or Eddie Van Halen or Randy Rhoads or somebody like that who tune their guitars down a lot of times. Otherwise, just keep it standard tuning. I don't see a reason why you'd want to keep it down there. Some people like the sound a little bit better, but to me it sounds like a regular guitar tuned down a half step. So, do you post age limits for Saturday's contest? No. Except for 13 and 84. I don't like those numbers, so you cannot win. No, there's no age limits. You can win any age, does not matter. When you play that string plus 2 strings down, 2 is crossed, how do you take care of the string in the middle? What if it's open code is not on the scale of the key? Are you playing it? Do you strike or mute it? Oh, Jude is saying, I see what you're saying, Jude. You mute it, okay? And if you don't know how to mute notes on YouTube or in the Unstoppable Guitar System, my mammoth course, I teach all about muting. So if you're in the Unstoppable Guitar System, just type in muting. If you're on YouTube, type in YourGuitarSage muting. And I don't have as many videos for it, but I do have some videos for it on YouTube, left and right hand muting. You could search for left or right hand, but type in YourGuitarSage muting, and I'll show you how to do that, especially with the octaves, okay? Okay, good. All right, looking for more questions here. We love you, Eric. Lots of question marks. I'm Ron Burgundy. Thank you, Stephen. I think you mean that you love me. Thank you, buddy. Any chance you'll be putting up some cool licks on your Unstoppable Guitar System? Jennifer, I have lots of licks in there and lots of bits and pieces. Yes. Check out the blues section. Tons and tons of licks. Harley's saying, okay, so now move on to the scale degrees and confusion sets in. Well, it shouldn't, Harley, because it will set in if you have not watched my major scale video inside of the free course. Watch that, you won't be confused, okay? Because I have a way of teaching that makes it easy to understand, because it's the same every time. Forget about sharps and flats at first. If you want to name those afterwards, you can, but watch that video, watch the major scale video inside the free course, YourGuitarSage.com/30, okay? That will help out a ton. How do you practice memorizing? You do it through repetition. Alan's saying, I consider myself an intermediate guitar player. What can I do for getting better? Alan, there's a million things you can do for getting better. Continue to take courses, continue to read, continue to follow other guitar players, learn songs, play to the record, learn to improvise, call and response, minimalistic blues. I got a million of them for you. Tons of them inside the Unstoppable Guitar System, a smattering of them inside of YouTube. When practicing positions, can you recommend fun songs to work with or play along with when practicing them? Jonathan, yes, on YouTube, on all my songs, any song that I teach there is my recommendation, because those are easy songs, the ones that I teach on there. I try to make them as easy as possible. And then typically, if there is any sort of soloing, I'll say, hey, this is in the key of E minor, here's where you'll play. So I do that on, if there's a lick or solo or something like that in it, I'll usually will say, here's where you want to be on the fretboard. Is there practice routines for fretboard memorization? Yes, inside of the free course and the Unstoppable Guitar System. But again, we're not trying to memorize as much as we are just trying to know where we're at on the fretboard, okay? How do you count the chord, i.e. a G7? How do you count the chord? I'm not sure what you mean by that, Jason. If you can clarify a little bit, I might be able to help you out with that. What are you replacing Tatiana with? I'm not. Although I should say, Michael, I have a constant flow of guitars through the studio here. So whether, in fact, Dan Electro just sent me a beautiful one here that I'll be doing a review on. This baby here, and I may give that one away as well. This is one that I just got from Dan Electro. And then B&G just sent me one, which I just did a review for. You can check that out on my YouTube page. But right now I don't have a replacement per se. I should to be playing out. I don't know what I'm going to do. I just haven't been playing out lately. I've been doing so much teaching. I'm just beginning, so I need to do scales. Do I need to do scales? Wow, that guitar looks green. Look at that. That guitar is not green, FYI. Maybe it's my monitor. It's blue. I'm just beginning, so do I need to learn scales or learn songs? Michael, learn songs. Learn songs. And check out the free course. What I'm showing to you in the free course is like, and the Guitar Mastery Simplified. Basically, the way that I teach is, I try to teach you the stuff that you have to know it. I mean, it's like basic stuff. If you don't know that stuff first, I mean, I teach advanced stuff as well, but obviously the free course is like the stuff that if you don't know that, you're not going to know much about guitar. It's not going to help you if you don't know those basic things, okay? And you would be surprised at how many people don't know that stuff. It's crazy. But learn songs too. Make sure you're learning songs. What can you recommend to an intermediate guitar players? Learn songs, Alan, and also follow my videos. Studio question, is it necessary to control the temperature, humidity in your guitar room? In other words, does your studio need to be a humidor? How critical is it? It's very important. Between 45 and 65 is the basic, liberal view of what the humidity should be. And basically, if it's not comfortable for you, it's not comfortable for your guitar. Same thing with your animals, right? If it's not comfortable for you, it's not comfortable for your animals. So same thing with your guitars. Okay, B does not have a sharp. Does it have a flat? Yes, it does have a flat. Good question. Don't you need a teacher at some point, or can you actually learn it online? It's a great question. Do you need a teacher, or can you learn it all online? You can learn a ton of stuff online. You don't need a teacher. You don't need friends. You don't need to eat, You'll die eventually, but does a teacher help? A good teacher helps. A bad teacher will hinder. So, in my opinion, a good teacher should be able to get you from where you want to go to where you want to be much quicker than not doing that. But now with online, especially if you have somebody who knows what they're doing, a teacher who knows what they're doing, like my course is set up to where it guides you through it in the same exact way that if you were here in my studio. I mean, obviously that's the way my mind works. So if you're asking me how to learn chords, I don't know chords, Eric, show me how to learn chords, then I'm going to show you the way that I would teach you in the studio step by step. It's just in a course now, if that makes sense. Okay, how do you play a chord on the guitar that is B, D, F on the piano? You find a B, a D, and an F, Joe, and then you play that. There's so many different ways you could do that. There's, dozens of ways you could play that. But you just use the method that I showed you, B, D, F, and then play those three notes together, and that's your chord. 3 notes, a chord is 3 notes or more. Craig is saying, can I replace the pin to attach the guitar strap from the side to bring near the fretboard? Love my Les Pauls, but prefer a higher angle while playing. Craig, I wouldn't do it yourself. I would have a professional do it, but yes, it definitely can be done. 100%. I'm going to start a beginner guitar class at my church, and I'm going to incorporate your 30 free lessons. No problem with that. No problem at all, Ron. That's great. I appreciate that. Thank you. And that's really kind that you're doing that. You can learn a lot by teaching. So teach. It will help others, and you'll be helping the world, and it will help you learn more as well. Would you make a tutorial, please, on the basics of thumb slaps, please? I think I have one video that's a basic of it, but since it's not a very broad subject, I might not cover that one. Is there any hope of a 56-year-old woman with small hands to learn guitar? Penny, yes. On YouTube, search YourGuitarSage small hands, because I have a video specifically speaking to that, because everyone thinks they have small hands, except for the people with ginormous hands, and then they think their hands are too big to play guitar. Bottom line is, there are lots of people with no arms playing guitar, playing with their toes, which are very, very short and stubby. So if they can play with their feet, then most definitely a 56-year-old woman can play with small hands, because it really doesn't have anything to do with the hand size. It has to do with learning the guitar. Guitar is just hard to play in the beginning, and it helps when folks can show you some tricks, okay? So indeed, Penny, so check that out, that video I'm talking about. Can you hear the guitar standing in the corner? Xavier, I'd have to tune it up and get it plugged in and all the rest. So not today, but I have videos for it on YouTube. Search YourGuitarSage Stray Cats. YourGuitarSage Stray Cats. Look that up, okay? And you'll hear it in all its glory. When playing music, the music alphabet, is the A note always ends up at one of the dots? Nope. No, has nothing to do with the dots whatsoever. The dots are just lines in a row to show you. That's all they are. They're just lines in a row in the road. They don't tell you where you're at. No more than lines in a road tell you where you're at. They just say, oh, you're on this side of the lane, but that's it. They're references. How do I sound more melodic in my solos instead of sounding like I'm stuck in scales? Great question, Jennifer. I have a video on that on YouTube. Type in YourGuitarSage melodic, but basically knowing what chord you're on and emphasizing those notes in your soloing is going to help a lot. Also, Jennifer, watch on YouTube YourGuitarSage, search minimalistic blues or YourGuitarSage call and response. Both of those will help a ton with understanding that more. All right, thin or thick pick. Terrence, watch the video on picks inside the free course. It depends on what you're doing. How to start learning scales. Start on the free course. That's the only place to start. You're not going to understand it otherwise. Okay, I'm going to jump over to YouTube here in just a minute, because these are flowing pretty darn quick here on Facebook. All right. Evan's saying, how was Tony Robbins, the event I attended? I just attended another Tony Robbins event, and it was absolutely amazing. Also, any tips on the structure of practice sessions and what I should work on daily to get better? Now, sometimes often I'll refer to another video, guys. Why? Because you can see the questions are moving so quick. I would only get to a handful of questions. I want to get you more information than what I could tell you here right now and be fair to everybody else. So Evan, on YouTube, type in YourGuitarSage practice. If you're inside the Unstoppable Guitar System, I have a whole section devoted to practicing and how to understand practicing, how to get better at it, how to be efficient, how to not waste your time, how to be effective. But bottom line, it depends on what you're doing. So there is no one size fits all. I get this question all the time, and I could say something, but I would be lying to you, okay? There is not a one-size-fits-all. It depends on what you're wanting to do, okay? How to understand fast solos? Understand slow solos. Don't try to learn something fast. You won't do it. Even if mom and dad told you you're special, ain't no amount of special going to make you learn something fast. You got to learn it slow. You've got to go through the gauntlet, okay? You got to work. We've got to work hard to get good. What do you prefer? What genre of music that is easy to learn when it comes to mastering? What do you prefer genre of music that's easy to learn when it comes to mastering a genre? I don't understand that question. But folk guitar is fairly easy. Watched your review on B&G. You didn't mention the tuning machines. They looked pretty clunky. Are they? No, not at all. That is just a specific way of, that's like an old school style, but not clunky whatsoever. They're actually pretty magnificent. So Philip's asking, do you have anything on how your amps should be set up, bass, treble, etc.? I probably do on YouTube. You should check, search YourGuitarSage Tone. But I have a whole section devoted to that. It's called The Pursuit of Tone, and that's inside the Unstoppable Guitar System. Can you recommend a specific acoustic amp? I don't use acoustic amps, so I wish that I could, but I'd be lying if I told you one. Okay. All right, I'm at the end of those questions. So I'm going to pop over to YouTube now, and my YouTube friends, I'm sorry that I've taken so long, but here I am. Is it just me, or does it seem like the mobile app handles live streams better? I think it handles it better. You're probably not asking me, though. The question is, how long will it take to count in a million? It'll take some time. I'm going backwards now on this because, on YouTube here, just because. Okay, no questions on YouTube whatsoever. That never, ever in the history of ever happens. So, okay. So I'm bumping back over to Facebook, and I'll bump over to YouTube. If you have a question on YouTube, let her fly. Let me know, and I'll get to it as much as possible. When will you give away the guitar? I'll be giving it away after the broadcast. So we'll get in touch with you. You don't have to reach out to us. Don't call us. We'll call you if you win, okay? We will let you know if you're a winner. Do I play lap or pedal steel? I do not, Scott. I bought a lap steel once, and I realized that it felt like an entirely different instrument to me. And so because of that, because I'm still trying to get good at this instrument, I said, I'm not going to do that. But still fun and beautiful. And really, you can get those same sounds from just regular guitar using a slide. Michael, the mobile app I think they were talking about was YouTube mobile app. Stacy's saying, how do you strengthen nails for picking? Great question, Stacy. So a lot of folks, a lot of guitar players, professional guitar players, will actually go have press-on nails or fake nails put on. And I have plenty of my friends that do this. I've wondered that if I should do it myself, because my nails are always so messed up, because my hand, you can see, I'll do it from the side here, you can see like this finger's all warped. See how that's like not straight? That was from arthritis in college, because I ate a lot of animal products and I don't anymore, and that made the inflammation go away. So, but I still, and also my pinky there's screwy, and this hand was also bit by a dog pretty severely. But that's not what's messing up the fingernails or anything like that. That being said, strengthen your fingernails. There are some things you can strengthen them with. I don't, but there's some stuff that you can paint on them. And in fact, I saw a video the other day by James Taylor. On YouTube, search James Taylor nails, because he's got a whole thing that he talks about. It's a whole method on strengthening your nails. Otherwise, you can go down to the salon and just get some new ones put on. Please demonstrate how the G chord on the 5th fret. What is the best way to do it? Please demonstrate how to do a G chord on the 5th fret. What is the best way to do it? Okay, well, you got a G chord here. You got a G chord here. This is using the caged system, by the way, which I won't go into the details, or I won't even try to explain it. I'll explain it from a 30,000-foot view. But it's essentially a way to play any chord, any major chord, 5 ways across the fretboard using the forms C, A, G, E, and D. That's why it's called caged, because it's using the C form, G form, E form, C, A, G, E, and D forms, okay? But we're using them across the fretboard in a way that's all in the same key. So in this case here, here's the G form of the G chord. Here's the E form of the G chord. Here's the D form of the G chord. Here's the C chord. Is that right? Yeah. Here's the C chord, or the C form of the G chord. And here's the A form of the G chord. So if that went over your head, it should, because usually I'll take a half hour to an hour to teach that lesson. I have it on YouTube. Type in YourGuitarSage Caged, and I have a whole course for it where I teach you the minor scale, the minor chords, the major chords, 7th chords, and a bunch of other chords inside the Unstoppable Guitar System. I mention that. That's like if you're done doing the little stuff on the guitar and you really, really want to learn how to play guitar, that's where you want to go, is the Unstoppable Guitar System. So I tell you that, so in case you want to learn more. So with that being said, how do you do that? How do you play that chord? You play the D form. So basically, it's a D chord, right? But you're going to move it up to the 5th fret. That's how you would play a G chord. Okay, it's basically a D, a bar chord, but D. Okay. Is there a chord or something that you always play first when you pick up a guitar? Usually it's a G chord for me to see if it's in tune. Yeah, probably a G chord for me too. I'll just usually hit a few chords just to say, hi guitar, how are you doing this morning? And really just to make sure it's in tune as well. In fact, that's the only reason I don't greet my guitars in the morning. What is a more expensive amp or guitar? What should I spend my money on? What is better, expensive amp or a guitar? What should I spend my money on? Well, it really depends. If you're talking about acoustic guitars, I'd say obviously an acoustic guitar. Just get a nice acoustic guitar. But the pickup in an acoustic guitar is crucial, because you can take a really nice acoustic guitar, put a crappy pickup in it. You could take a $5,000 acoustic guitar, put a $100 pickup in it, and the guitar will sound not so good. if you're using that acoustic pickup. You could take a cheap ass guitar, put a $300 acoustic pickup in it, like I've got in my Gibson, and it'll sound amazing. Okay, so the parts do matter. Now, when it comes to, I would say get a guitar that feels and plays right to you, because that's what you're ultimately playing. It's like the amp is secondary, and if you don't like the way the guitar feels and sounds, then any amp is probably not going to make that guitar come alive. With that being said, if I like the way the guitar sounded, if you had a really cheap amp that sounded bad, you could plug a great guitar into it. It's still not going to sound very good. So that's a hard question to answer. There's no anybody who answered that definitively would be lying to you, because there's not a definitive answer to that. It's very subjective depending on what guitars and what amps we're talking about. Eric, have you got a video on YouTube about how I can work out the key of the song I'm playing in? Martin, I believe I do. Type in YourGuitarSage key. Okay, I'm pretty sure I do. I know I have a whole course inside of the Unstoppable Guitar System regarding that. Harley is saying, yeah, to file your nails instead of clipping them. That is true, 100%. Because if you do that, number one, you're keeping them from fraying at the tips, and then also, I don't know about them making them stronger, but you're keeping them from having a weak point, if you will. So indeed. Why did you pick the position of your G versus other positions? I don't know what that means, Mark. Why did you pick the position of your G versus other positions? Do you mean this G chord? You have to let me know what you're talking about there specifically, Mark, because, that's your basic open G chord, if that's what you're talking about. Unless you're talking about my lazy G, where I lift my first finger up, and I just do that because I think it sounds better. It's a little easier to play. Scott is saying, oh, speaking of James Taylor, his tuning using sense is surprising. Didn't think you would go so flat on some strings to get usable tuning for acoustic guitar to sound good all over the neck. Yeah. So what Scott's talking about here is, especially on the G and the B strings, is when you tune a guitar, even if it's perfectly in tune, it's never perfectly in tune, because the guitar is not, number one, we use a tempered, I think if I recall correctly from music school, I believe it's called the tempered scale. But basically the idea is that when we're tuning, so that we can play in all keys, we kind of have to compensate a little bit all over the place. So as opposed to if we had an instrument that just played in one specific key, then for that, we could tune that instrument slightly differently, and I mean slightly differently, but to where it sounded better. It sounded more resonant. Okay, but then it would only work in that one key. You try to play it in another key, it would sound terrible. So we have this like compensated tuning, if you will. And so because of that, that's one variable. But then the guitar itself, because of the math that goes on from here to here and stuff that even if I explained it to you, you're still going to be confused about. Because of that, each fret is not evenly spaced, or it's evenly spaced, but it's not even to music. And because of that, everything is slightly off a little bit. Then you add a guitar player who doesn't really keep their guitar very well in tune. Now you've got a catastrophe for being out of tune. So James Taylor has a way of tuning the guitar that where he's compensating basically. Now I do this, but I do it in a different way by just basically playing chords and compensating one chord for another. So if my G chord sounds great, and then I go to a D chord and it doesn't sound good, then I'm going to take whatever note is bothering me on the one chord, and I'll adjust that more to be a little bit nicer in the one chord that's bothering me, and then it'll be a little bit off on the other chord as well, but that kind of being off on both chords a little bit is better than one chord being perfectly in tune and the other being completely out of whack. Okay? Make sense? Ever play with Chuck Mead in Nashville, old college friend? I have not. I don't know who that is. This gentleman's asking, what are the different types of chords? Because I know the bar chords and bar chords, the bar chords and basic chords, are there different types of chording? Indeed, there are. On YouTube, type in YourGuitarSage chords. How many chords are there? There's thousands of chords. But you don't have to memorize thousands of chords any more than you need to memorize the dictionary to speak. You learn phrases, you learn the phrases that you need, and then when you learn a new word, you add it to your vocabulary. But you don't want to sit down with a chord book. I mean, you could, but it's like sitting down with a dictionary and trying to learn Spanish, or trying to learn English and sitting down with a dictionary. That's not why we use those. We use those as references. So you might use a book like that as a reference, but realistically, you'd be better off to learn methods like the way that I teach chords and scales and stuff like that, because it's going to save you a ton of time so that you can do other stuff, you know. Is there a YouTube video of you playing with a band? You know, I don't think so. The only live playing that I have that's not a video is going to be on Guitar Center, where I was at Guitar Center and I was doing a live. Maybe it was a contest or something. I was doing some sort of contest, a blues bit, or playing there for some reason. I forgot now. It's been years. But with that being said, you could look that up, and I think it's just type in YourGuitarSage Guitar Center or Eric Andreas Your Guitar Center or something like that, and where I'm playing some blues. And but no, I don't, unless somebody else has posted something online. No, because I'm usually sitting there playing, not recording myself. But no, I don't have anything online. Can you believe that? Nothing. Unless, like I said, unless somebody else has posted something and I've just never come across it. What is my favorite acoustic guitar to play on a daily basis? It's my Gibson SJ200. What's your opinion on multi-effects processors versus single pedals? Well, I was just talking about that with Athena, our lovely social media manager here that we just hired, who's going to be helping me out tremendously because I'm running around like a chicken with my head cut off. But we were talking about this, that there's different concepts in regards to pedal boards, and the multi-effects processors are nice because you get a lot of bang for the buck. You get a lot of stuff built into it, but it may not be the things that you want. Whereas if you're doing a modular system, like one pedal at a time, you might have a reverb that you totally love, and then you find a delay that you totally love, and then you find an overdrive pedal that you totally love, and when you bring those two together, that's all you need. You don't need all the other stuff. So I like both for different reasons. I have both, many different versions of both, but just depends on what you want. The last few years I've gone modular, where I just have what I want in a pedal board, and I love that. And but there's different reasons for both, you know. Great question, Eric. About your blues and advanced course on Udemy, will there follow others? By the way, there are questions on YouTube amongst mine. Okay, I'm jumping over there right now. Yeah, there's always new stuff coming out for sure. I've always got new stuff. Whoa, and YouTube's gone mad. Maybe it wasn't working earlier. What the heck? Now it's just bonkers. Okay. And are you still updating videos on your paid courses on Udemy? Yes, we do that typically once a year. You know, is the Takamine a good beginner guitar? It's a good advanced guitar as well. Yeah, it's an excellent beginner's guitar. This guitar, when I bought it, was $800 something bucks. So it's definitely a higher end guitar. But yes, indeed, it's a great beginner's guitar. It's a great intermediate. It's a great advanced guitar. It will work for all. Can you play rock on that pretty Takamine with pedals and amps? Yeah, sure, you could. You could run it through some overdrive or something like that. And that, you know, you could do that. But obviously, there's a reason why you would not, why you'd want to use an electric. Ali is still high. Should you always use a backing track when learning to solo? No, you don't have to, but you know, it would be helpful because you have something to listen to help guide you. Does that make sense? So if you're just using a metronome or something like that, it may not be as cool because you're just, you're just in time. That's all you're doing. But when you have a backing track, number one, it's going to give you more of a feel because you've got bass and you've got guitar or keys or something like that. So I prefer backing tracks, and in fact, if you're inside the Unstoppable Guitar System, we have nearly 600 of them now. So we're constantly doing new backing tracks. So I love working with them because they really inspire you. If you're working to just a metronome or you're just working to a drum track or something like that, or a drum track more than a metronome, because the drums are going to make you feel something more than a metronome will, and a metronome more than nothing. Okay, so the more instruments, the better that's going to be, the better that's going to sound. Taha is saying, kick me in the nuts, Eric. Whoosh, there you go. Practice your friggin' guitar. That's your kick in the nuts. All right. Do I have to concentrate on chords if I want to play more finger picking? I don't know what that question means. On finger picking, just practice finger picking. I have a great finger picking video with lots of exercises step by step inside the free course. Okay, so check that out, YourGuitarSage.com/30, and PDFs to download that will help you with all of this. Okay, so make sure you go through those because it's going to show you the proper way to do it so you're not messing up. I do not use an acoustic guitar for my amp. Godiest is saying. All right. Good questions. I'm going to back up a little bit. Is it better to learn how to use scales or modes or the cage system? They're both different, Matt, so learn both of them. The cage system is great. Okay, they're great. Why am I not streaming on Twitch for a bigger audience? I don't know. I thought Twitch was for gaming only. Number one, I thought it was for gaming only, and two, I don't know if anybody knows me on Twitch. I don't have any videos there, so, but I'll look into that. I'll ask some kids around, right? That's a great one though. Thank you so much. Yeah, the chat was running like poop, but now it seems to be doing good, Okay, so how do you go from playing scales to playing music? Darren's asking. It's a great question, Darren. You do it. You play music, stop playing scales, and you will gravitate towards playing music. What I mean by that is stop playing scales, seriously. People practice scales like this, and there's nothing wrong with it. I've only done it for a few thousand hours. You're practicing through your scales, and that's great. And that sounds like a scale because that's what you're playing, right? But if you practice the same scale, but more like... if you're practicing scales like that, well, now you're kind of like incorporating some phrasing. But if you're, now you're adding some... if you're practicing like different forms and what have you, and you're practicing more like phrasing, now it's becoming more like music. But it's like I say, music is more important than learning scales and chords and stuff. Those are the pieces that we're using to play music. But I don't know about you. I've never gone to see a show where someone just got on stage and they're like, G chord. Thank you. G scale. Right? They play songs. So who cares about some guy who knows how to play a million scales or a million chords? I don't care. I don't think anybody else does either, really. They want to hear songs. They want to hear music. So concentrate on that. Play music. Try to be more musical. That's probably the best advice that I could give you on any of that. How do you distract a 1-year-old while practicing guitar? How do you distract a 1-year-old, right? Yeah, they'll take up your time as babies do. I've got a 2.5-year-old now, and yeah, they'll take up your time for sure. I'm 60. I only have 20 to 30 minutes a day to practice. Am I wasting my time? No, you're not wasting your time. But what I would tell you to do, Swagger Cat, is make sure that you're not creating goals for yourself that are way outside of being realistic, okay? So what I mean by that is if you're playing for 20 or 30 minutes a day, you would probably you'd serve yourself best to be doing like strumming type songs, on some of your favorite your favorite types of tunes. You know, you could learn soloing and those sorts of things, but you know, when you can't really like dig in the dirt and really immerse yourself in it, it just kind of becomes frustrating, you know, and I don't want you to get frustrated. And so we're trying to stay away from it. That's why people stop playing guitars, because they get frustrated, right? So I'd say, you know, keep it on the easy stuff, you know. Any chance of the lifetime system being discounted again? Karen, yes, there's a possibility of that. We're going to be giving the Unstoppable Guitar System away this Saturday, though. In fact, I don't know how many we're giving away, but we're giving away a lot. Literally giving away thousands of dollars. What? Did he say thousands? He meant hundreds. No, he meant tens. No, I meant hundreds. No, I meant thousands. We'll be giving away thousands of dollars worth of goodies away on Saturday, including this guitar and several of the Unstoppable Guitar System and other stuff as well. We always give away lots of stuff. So if you haven't already, YourGuitarSage.com/live, okay? Do it. Go there right now. What's that?
There's a link in the description.
There's a link in the description of the video, okay, for that. Thank you so much, Chris. Yeah, there's a link in the description of this video. Make sure you check that out. Make sure you register ahead of time. Why? Because if you do, then you could win this or any one of the other thousands of dollars worth of goodies that we're going to be giving away. Lifetime memberships to the course that I keep talking about, all that good stuff. So make sure you do that, okay? If you don't do that, you can't win, and then you won't be part of it, and you won't learn stuff. You like learning stuff, that's why you're here, my friend. So, okay, I'm going to take, we're going to go, I'll tell you what, we're going to go to 12:30, so 9 more minutes, and then we're going to end it there, okay? Because I can go forever with this. You guys are awesome, and you got great questions. How do you renew your motivation after getting stuck for a month or so? That's a great question. How do you renew your motivation? Well, I find that it's best to find music that I want to learn. Like for me, if I'm like, God, what am I going to learn on the guitar now? I just start listening and I think about bands. I mean, if you think about it, you know, depending on how old you are, like for me, I know thousands of songs. I've learned thousands of songs, and there's probably tens of thousands of songs that I still haven't learned, that I should have learned, that I didn't have time to learn, because it's tens of thousands of songs, right? So like there's an infinite amount of great music out there that you could be learning. So find out a song that you like, a riff that you like, if you see something that I'm doing, or peruse my channel, or get on there and type in Your Guitar Sage Elvis if you like Elvis, or Your Guitar Sage Clash if you like the Clash, or Your Guitar Sage Pink if you like Pink Floyd, whatever. Like learn a song from somebody who you love, and make sure it's like your favorite song. Find out what your favorite song is, learn that, even if it seems really, really difficult, because you're going to have such a pull towards it. It's going to make you pick up the guitar. You don't want to be pushed into playing. You want to, right? You want to be pulled into playing. Okay, great questions. Someone's 11 years old and they play guitar. That's awesome, Noah. Great time to start. You're starting off earlier than I did, so that is fantastic. Go for it. You know, I love it when I hear folks starting off so early, because it just, you got that much more to work with, you know. How do you end up always sounding like you're playing the blues? Matt's saying, well, number one, Matt, don't play the blues scale. Okay, you can't not sound like you're playing blues if you're playing the blues scale. Bending a lot of notes is going to make it sound bluesy, right? Playing to a blues chord progression is going to make it sound bluesy. Using the chromatics, or not the chromatic scale, using the diatonic scale, which is just like your major or minor scale, is going to keep you from sounding bluesy. What's happening is you're probably using the pentatonic or the blues scale, and you're doing lots of bending. And if you got a blues chord progression, then it's probably going to sound bluesy no matter what. But I promise you, write those 4 things down I just said, and you won't sound bluesy. Okay, because I'll go in and out of doing this. I'll be like, okay, in fact, that's how I think when I'm soloing sometimes. I'll be like, man, I'm just going to blues it up. I'm going to pull out all the stops, bluesy-wise. And I'll just be playing all through some blues. And then when that starts sounding a little bit old to me, then I'm like, okay, how can I change this up? Okay, let's do some diatonic stuff, major, minor, right? So now I'm playing 7 notes instead of 5 or 6 notes. and specifically also the way that those scales are shaped and what have you, typically different stuff comes out. So that's how I like to think about it, you know. All right. Gabe, how do you follow YourGuitarSage on Instagram? You go to Instagram, you find YourGuitarSage, and you click the follow button. That's my name on there, YourGuitarSage. I know that sounds very elementary, but I'm not sure what you mean by that other than that. Yes, go on Instagram, type in YourGuitarSage, click the follow button that's by that dude's name, YourGuitarSage, and you'll be following me. All right? Great. Thank you for asking about that. Okay, the RP 1000, I don't know anything about that board. I apologize, I have not played through that one. All right, 5 more minutes, my friends. What's the best way to record an acoustic guitar or on a PA system? Miking or connecting a cable? That might sound stupid. Sorry, no, not stupid at all, Adam. The best way to record an acoustic guitar is to record it in front of the guitar, okay? If you're working with one microphone, to me, probably the best way to do it is to point it at the 12th fret. Why? Because if you're just using one microphone, or you know, I say the 12th fret, it could be here at the base of the body, but like to point a guitar, to point a mic directly right there is a good like overall sound of the guitar. A lot of times people will go, well, you know, here's the sound hole, and I'm going to point it right in there. And you can do that. You're going to get a very loud sound, but it's also going to be very boomy, because there's a lot of bass happening in that section of the guitar. So what we used to do back in the day, what I still do sometimes is, like, I mean, usually when I'm recording an acoustic guitar, I'll do what's called Y-axis or X-axis, or I forgot what it's called. It's been years. But you take 2 microphones and you put them really close together like this, because if they're too far away, you can get some phasing issues. So what you want to do is take 2 microphones, cross them like this, and then, you know, put them kind of on the guitar like that. Does that make sense? Because then what's happening is you're getting some of that low end and you're getting some high end. So that's the best way to do it, like with stereo situation. If you're just using one microphone, if you want to point it at the sound hole, you can, but I'd back it away from the guitar, maybe like 6 to 8 inches out, maybe even a foot out. Obviously, the further out it is, the more ambient noise you're going to get, which you're trying to stay away from that. So one way to circumvent that is to take the microphone and move it a little bit further away from the sound hole, but closer to the strings, like on the neck. Okay, those are some of the. If you're just using one mic, that's kind of the easier way to do it. All right, great questions. Intervals and emotion link, Langford's saying. Yeah, that's pretty heady stuff, Langford. But you know what Langford's talking about? An interval is the distance between 2 notes, and so you know, hitting that interval right there might give you a different emotion than say this interval, right? Or this interval. So there's different intervals that we can hit that actually evoke emotions and what have you. I probably wouldn't think too much about that, Langford, just because, I mean, I don't know, like that science is interesting and what have you, but like to me, we can overthink that stuff sometimes, and ultimately it's like, let's say a certain interval made you feel happy. It's like if you played it all the time, after a while it would just automatically sound like elementary because you're playing the same thing over and over again, right? See children's music. It's like it's very elementary, right? This guy looks like James Hetfield. I've gotten that before. James Hetfield with glasses. Eric, best advice for starting to learn theory to better complete gym guitar knowledge. Great question, GR/. Thank you so much for asking that. I crap you not, I'm telling you, start with the free course that I'm giving you, because if you don't have the basic knowledge, that's the foundation that everything's built upon. So number 1, start at the first 30 lessons I teach all my students, YourGuitarSage.com/30. Start there, okay? The next thing to do is on YouTube, type in YourGuitarSage Theory, because I have a few videos specifically that says these are the things you got to know, you got to know them, you got to know them. Obviously, if you're inside the Unstoppable Guitar System, I have whole sections dedicated to music theory. I mean, there's nearly 600 videos in that course, along with nearly 600 jam tracks. So lots and lots of good stuff there. All right. All right, few things I want to tell you guys here before we leave. If you have not already, 2 things I want you to do. 2 things? 3 things. 3 things I want you to do. I'm going to give you some links here. Are you ready? Get ready to write them down. Okay. Number 1, the free course is at YourGuitarSage.com/30. The link's in the description of this video. Make sure you go there. Okay. I don't care if you've been playing for 30 years. I have folks all the time say they've been through that. They've been through those 30 lessons, and they were so surprised at how much they left behind that someone did not teach them. Now, because I've taught like several thousands of lessons, and I've done this for like over 30 years, and millions of views, right? It's like I have a certain way that I do things because I'm trying to get you from where you're at today to where you want to be on the guitar as quickly and as painlessly as possible. That's what we're trying to do with everything, right? So that's my objective, is to get you there as quickly and as painlessly as possible. So I teach things stepwise, because why do it otherwise? Otherwise, we're going to be jumping all over the place. So you got to learn it stepwise, makes it a lot quicker. And then once you get the amount of information that you need, you can be like, I'm done. I don't need to learn anymore. But if you want to keep going, at least you've got that foundation built off. So YourGuitarSage.com/30, start there. Number 1, start there. Number 2, join me for this live event this Saturday where I'm going to be giving away Tatiana, my Takamine EAN10C. I've had this guitar for over a decade now. In fact, you can see her in many of my first beginning videos, okay? Lots of videos done with her. So I'll be giving her away along with the hard shell case, the original hard shell case, which is beautiful, by the way. And I'll be throwing a bunch of other stuff in there, like a book and capo and tuner and picks and all sorts of stuff. So I'm going to load it up. We're also going to be giving away memberships to the Unstoppable Guitar System, lifetime memberships to the Unstoppable Guitar System. Thousands and thousands of dollars worth of goodies we'll be giving away. You can check all that out at YourGuitarSage.com/live. Okay? What else? What else? Oh, share this video, my friends. For sharing this video, we're going to be awarding 6 people today. 6 people. 5 of them will win a book and a CD from me, and 1 lucky winner is going to win the PR150 Epiphone guitar. So, yay, right? I love you guys. Thank you so much for all the kind words. Thank you for liking and loving and all that good stuff, and thank you for the great questions. And if you haven't already, make sure that you hit me up on all those links, and you know where to find me. YourGuitarSage.com, and on YouTube, you know where to find me. You're here already. A lot of you are. All right, my friends, I'm out of here. Thank you so much for all, and I'll see you in the next video.